What's up, guys? This is Vanessa in the morning at 107.9. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm talking to the commuters going to work, sitting in traffic right now, and I thought you guys would want to hear what Brittany DeSegli has to say about strategies for third graders dealing with anxiety.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here. Like you said, my topic is strategies for third graders dealing with anxiety, and I'm hoping to hit the teachers and faculty who are on their way to working in elementary schools. And for your parents that are also in the car right now listening, this is important information for you as well.
So I'm just curious to know, is there a specific reason why you chose this topic, or is it just something that you've always been interested in?
So I chose this topic because my major is elementary education and I want to be a classroom teacher. So with that, I'm going to be around kids and working with them for most part of the day. And I mainly chose third grade because hopefully in the future that's the grade that I want to be teaching.
So I know that there's all different kinds of anxiety that individuals face, but are there specific ones that third graders encounter?
Yeah, so there are a couple different types of anxiety a child can have when they are in school. Some include separation anxiety, social anxiety, or just a specific phobia. So separation anxiety is an excessive worry or fear when they're away from a family member a child can be attached to. It's normal for children to be attached to family members, but if it's over the top excessive, then it's separation anxiety. And it can be caused by biological, family, and environmental factors. When it comes to social anxiety, if you notice a child is oftentimes by themselves or has trouble making friends, that's social anxiety, and that's when you want to be on the lookout.
So for the people out there listening, is there anything you can tell them about separation anxiety and how to help their child to cope with this?
So for the parents listening, they can remind their child that they're coming back, they're going to pick them up at the end of the day. And for teachers, they can have a morning activity where the child comes in and gets started, and it takes their mind off of their parents leaving or any other worry that they may have.
What about social anxiety?
So for social anxiety, it's usually better when the teacher picks the groups, just because if someone has a harder time making friends or likes to be by themselves, they're going to have a harder time picking a partner or a couple of other kids to be in their groups. So with the teacher just assigning them, they won't have that issue. And also the teacher can go around monitoring the groups and help them get started or doing any icebreaker activities that can help everyone get to know each other.
So when you're in the classroom and you have a student that's anxious, is it easy for you to pick up on? Is there signs or signals that you use to be able to identify what this child is going through?
There can be physical, emotional, and behavioral changes in a child when wondering if there are signs. Some of the signs for behavioral change could include the child not wanting to go to school or not wanting to participate with classroom activities, and oftentimes they're by themselves, or you may notice that they're constantly asking what if. Some signs for emotional would include crying often, the child being extremely sensitive, worrying about things in the future that they cannot control, or they oftentimes might be afraid of making mistakes, even if the mistake is a very small one. And physical signs include complaining frequently of headaches or stomach aches when there's no actually medical reference to it, refusing to eat snacks or at lunch or school, and having trouble sleeping and staying asleep at home, and that's for the parents. So if you notice that your child is having a hard time falling asleep or staying asleep, then that is definitely a sign for a physical. With that, I meant physically anxious child, and then later on I'll mention some strategies on how to help your child.
In what ways can anxiety affect a child in the classroom?
So anxiety can cause the brain to not retain and absorb new information, but it also can have a harder time retrieving information that was previously learned. And also, anxiety can be more than just a child worrying. It can impact how that child reacts in the classroom environment and how the child participates in class and with their peers. And to elaborate on what I had previously stated about the brain retaining information and absorbing new information, Those are really two important parts of being in third grade because what you learn then is the foundation of future learning, and you're going to have to go back to that information in the next couple of grades. And so for a teacher that's teaching a new lesson in a subject, the child who is having trouble retaining that new information may end up struggling and falling behind their peers, which isn't a good thing. And that pretty much sums up the effects that anxiety can have on a child that is in class.
For those of you commuters that are just tuning in with us right now on Vanessa in the Morning, it's going on 8:30, and we are here with Brittany DeSegli in the studio. Brittany, you want to say hi to everyone?
Hey, everyone.
She is here talking to us about strategies for third graders that are dealing with anxiety. She's taught us all different kinds of anxiety and how to cope with it and how to help your child not feel so anxious when they're going to school or trying to make friends. So, Brittany, are there other strategies that you haven't mentioned to help third graders deal with the anxiety that they're feeling, or really any grade level?
So there are multiple strategies when it comes to helping a third grader that is having anxiety in your classroom. One thing that you can do is deep breaths. Instead of doing this with the individual child, you can do it with the whole class. That way, that child doesn't feel like he or she is standing out or embarrassed. So with that, there are different breathing techniques that you can do with the class. Also, you can do yoga with the class, and kids really seem to enjoy that. And along with that, you could pull up a meditation and have the kids listen to that and follow along. Kids at this age are used to a routine, especially during their school day. They always have a routine and they know what to expect. So adding in yoga or a guided meditation to their routine, this is something that they can look forward to, and it's not a surprise, and it's just important to stay consistent with it. So another thing that you could do is to give the kids a change of scenery. Third graders anyways shouldn't be stuck in a classroom all day, but if you notice that there's more than one child getting anxious, a good thing to do would be to take them outside or let that child just go for a walk and get out of their seat and move around. Taking the kids outside gets them to breathe in fresh air and take in the nature around them, which is very calming. The trees, sky, birds, squirrels, and whatever else may be outside is going to help the child calm down and have relaxing thoughts. The next thing you could do is to have positive thoughts. When someone is dealing with anxiety, positive thoughts aren't the first thing that appear in one's mind, and it may be difficult to think about all the positive things. But a way to handle that is you could have a journal for the child to just go whenever they're feeling anxious and write down whatever they want. It could be a story, their thoughts, something that they're worrying about. And they know that that's their book and they can go to it at any time. And then it would also be really important for the teacher to read through those daily and see what they can do to help the child. Also, taking 5 minutes at the end of the day and having the child go up to the board and writing down a couple or just one positive thing that happened to them today, and then as a class going over it and realizing all the good things that happened today and listening to each other's thoughts and ideas that they had. So another strategy to help a third grader who is dealing with anxiety would be to be understanding. So for the teacher to understand what the child is going through and being supportive, but also providing accommodations. So being there for a child who is struggling with anxiety, whether it's socially, emotionally, or for schoolwork, the child needs to know that someone is always there for them and someone that they can go to. So every school provides their own accommodations, and I know one school has a program called Lunch Bunch, which is a program where kids who have trouble making friends or sit by themselves at lunch, they can go into a classroom with a teacher and other kids, and that teacher can just help them like break the ice and help them develop friendships, and it's in a very like informal setting so that the kids can feel more comfortable, which is really important about making them feel safe and comfortable with each other, but also in school. For all the parents still listening, I know it can be a stressful situation, having your child deal with anxiety and not knowing how to help them, but I came up with a few ideas that you can try at home that can help your child. So one thing would be to make sure that your child has good sleeping habits. A proper night's sleep can really help them with their levels of anxiety and kind of keep it under control. And another thing is to have them practice healthy eating habits, so providing healthy foods and meals and snack times. Also, teachers, you can send home informational newsletters on healthy meals and the proper amounts of fruits and vegetables that a child should be getting per day. In the classroom and at home, with the right support and strategies, anxiety can definitely be manageable.
So overall, how does this topic relate to what you've learned in stress management?
So in chapter 4 of The Upside of Stress, it talks about how anxiety can help someone rise to the challenge. It doesn't necessarily mention it for elementary school kids, but after reading it, there are some ideas that can be adapted for them. For example, in the book it mentions that feeling anxious about something in school can actually help you do better. It's all about having the right mindset. The teacher or whomever is working with the child can remind them to think positive thoughts and try to work on changing their mindsets.
Well, thanks again, Brittany, for coming in and talking to us. I know for sure I've learned a few things. I'm sure the commuters out there have. I'm not sure if they've liked the experience or not, but we're going to try it again sometime. So that's all we have for Vanessa in the morning today. I'm going to switch back over to Ramiro. But, sorry, Brittany told me a joke. We have a commercial-free hour. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace out.